Greetings, true believers, and welcome to the very first episode of Understanding with Stan, starring me, Stan Lee. This is a show dedicated to explaining some of the things that we say in our videos. In today's video, Andre is going to explain why he felt the way he felt about some of the announcements coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, which is linked to how he rates the movies that he watches. So, take it away, Andre!
Hi everybody. This is an impromptu video, and this isn't a review or anything like that. So this is a little bit more of a serious video for me anyway. There's some things that I want to address, and some things are you probably not going to like or going to disagree with me on, and that's fine. I don't care. But if you're not looking for that with this video, then I suggest turn it off and move on, okay? I'm going to give it to you now. All right. This video is going to more or less give you an insight of how I think and how my mind works with visual entertainment, for the most part, visual entertainment, okay? As you can see right behind me, San Diego Comic-Con was this past weekend. By the time you watch this, it'll more than likely be over. I gotta, if you know me on Facebook, especially when San Diego Comic-Con comes around, I tend to make a lot of posts on my Facebook page, mainly the news about what's going on and what's coming up in the future, basically. And for the most part, as you can see, Marvel Studios is up there as well. So Marvel Studios, to its usual fashion, made a lot of announcements as far as what to expect on both the streaming front and on the movie front, basically. So as I post these things, sometimes I'll say something, sometimes I won't, sometimes I'll make a snarky remark, and this time I made a few snarky remarks and had a Facebook friend. I say Facebook friend because they're friends with me on Facebook and on Facebook only. We've never met. We don't know each other outside of the internet and never hung out or anything like that. We don't talk on the phone or whatever, yada, 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 yada. So, on Facebook Messenger, this person contacted me and asked the question, why all of the apathy towards Marvel? And I gave him a breakdown as to why I think the way I think and why I feel the way I feel about it. To an extent, he didn't understand and defended what he saw, and that's fine. More power to him. No big deal. I'm not gonna. I'm not ratting him out or saying that he's wrong or anything like that. But to an extent, it almost came off like he was saying that I was wrong for thinking and feeling the way that I do about certain things. Okay, so I decided to address this in a video because most people don't know me in person or never met me in person, or don't know my mindset, never talked to me in real time. So here's how I look at these things. Okay, when it comes to visual entertainment, I've always admired it, always loved it, but over the past several years now, it's become intolerable for me personally, and I've grown pretty almost close to the edge of indifferent about it. Now, I'm part of that crowd of nerds and geeks who's going, look, this was good, but I don't like where it's heading right now. I don't like what they're doing right now, and that's with basically most forms of visual entertainment right now. Okay, so as far as Marvel goes, as far as the comic book industry and the entertainment industry is going right now, it's getting very social and political for me, to the point to where I don't like it. It's not fun anymore. It's not entertaining anymore. And because of that, I choose. I'm I'm losing interest, I'm not really as involved as I used to be. And the reason being is because I think what they're doing nowadays is that, number one is, like I said in my reviews of Multiverse of Madness and in Love and Thunder, the idea of skipping characters, newly created characters, up over old characters that have been around for decades. I've said this before in the past. So, and the majority of these new characters are what? They are characters that are meant to appeal to people like me, of my skin tone. And I don't approve of that. I hate it. Why? And as an artist, I don't like it. Why? Because, as most people have brought up in the past, Hollywood is creatively bankrupt right now, and I would go as far as to say that the artists themselves aren't very creative as well. So you have a lot of people who are coming up into the business who don't care about the product, and who don't care about the fans, the original fans, the ones who have always been there and stood up for this stuff. And so you have people who are using the platform to get their message across to people. Okay, so which that's fine, but they're going about it the wrong way. And when I say these things, these people are not creative. They've tried. Some of them may have tried to create their own stuff, but it's not very good. It's not well written, or it's not very well drawn, or both together. So what happens is what I'm gonna attach myself to this particular character and this particular group of people, and I'm gonna send my message out to that way. Use that as a soapbox to send my message out that way. Never considering the fact that it changes the character, number one, because if the character's been around for ages, that basically changes the character. This character wasn't like this before. Why? That doesn't make sense to retcon that character now and make it a new characteristic or new personality trait for that particular character. So, and it's all to appeal to X crowd, basically. So, for me personally, I don't approve of that. One, because I see it as it being cheap, lazy, and it's stealing. Number three, and number four, it's insulting, as it should be insulting, because it's just like the slave owner eating the best parts of the pig and leaving the worst parts of the pig left over to feed the slaves. You're getting sloppy seconds. You're getting hand-me-downs, basically. It should all be insulting to any group of people, whether it's their race or their gender or their age or their sexuality. It should be an insult, because they're appealing to the low-hanging fruit, to the lowest common denominator, which is your superficial aspect. They're being shallow in that sense. So it should be insulting. I should not want Ariel in a Little Mermaid remake to be a black woman. They've already used her up at this point. It's like, okay, you can have her now. Go ahead, black people, you can have her now. Or, hey, Submariner is white. Namor in Wakanda Forever, by the way, is white, has always been historically white. Well, he's Latino now, or Mayan, or Incan, or whatever it is now, whatever you want to call it now. So we're done using them, or we can't use them, or we don't like them anymore. So here you go, Mexicans. Here you go, Latin America, Latinos. Okay, that's not right. That's how it should be looked at. That it should be is an insult that you are here to consume that, which is just sloppy seconds, basically. Crumbs on the table, basically. So, as a black man and as a creator, I don't care for that. It's an insult. I know I've never been much of a good black person, because even my own kind have basically, I've never been black enough. Basically, while everybody else has wanted to go and be an athlete or a singer or yada 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 whatever, I wanted to be a cartoonist slash cartoon animator. So I understand it, I get it. Doesn't even make me angry anymore or anything like that. But for me to try to get me to buy into it and to try it's that's also an insult as well. So because of that, I really don't appreciate those kinds of thoughts, and to a certain that I should be this way and I should accept this and consume it just because of who I am on the outside, basically. That's that that's just like that's just as racist, in my opinion, just in the opposite direction, maybe even worse. It's just like, well, the last GI Joe movie, Snake Eyes. It's like, he was Asian. Well, he's always been a white character, but the fact that, well, he should be Asian. Why should he be Asian? Are Asians the only one who can do martial arts, who can be ninja? That's ridiculous. That's racist. Just as racist as well. That's just like anyone and everyone saying, Asians are good at math. Not all. And I hate that term. I hate using that phrase, not all, because it's ridiculous. But it's the truth. It's not all of them. So to me, that's just as racist. That's just as bad for someone to do or to make those kinds of claims. So, for me, I don't like that sort of thing. That's not part of my mindset. I don't need validation from white people. I don't need validation from people of any other races. The only validation I truly, honestly do care about are from the people who do love and care for me, basically. Other than that, I don't care. I've kind of always been that way to a certain extent. I wanted validation from my own kind. Very rarely got it, but it is what it is. So, that leads to this idea of, again, towing this line, and in a sense, there was a post one time that I saw on a friend's list, not a close friends, on a friend's Facebook page, and it was a list of various different characters. Well, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created Black Panther for the movement and civil rights movement, or was it? I'm sorry, the X-Men that were created for the civil rights movement, which is a lie, by the way. Stan Lee did come out and say there is record in interviews that he did and on Comic-Con panels that he did not create the X-Men as a result of the civil rights movement. He was lazy. He flat out admits that. He's like, I created these characters. I didn't know. The hardest part about them is how did they get their powers? I just said they were born with them, and that's it. That's how that came about. So it didn't have anything with the civil rights movement. If people really, Wonder Woman is not a symbol of feminism. They have adopted it as a symbol of feminism, but the person who created William, I can't remember his last name, but the person who created Wonder Woman, yes, he did think after Batman and Superman had been created, oh well, what if there was a female superhero? But if feminists really do look back at that, at the guy who created him, at the guy who created her, they probably wouldn't want to use her as a feminist icon, in all honesty, if you look back at his personal life. So anyway, the way I look at it is, this list was basically, basically stating all of the things that are going on in, different characters, and some of the things that us as nerds have been complaining about as the direction of how these things are going with many of these characters. And the whole point of it was basically, well, the nerds have basically become the bullies now. Well, I would, in all honesty, disagree with that, number one. And number two, I would wager that they have become the bullies now, because if you don't like it, or if you disagree with them on this subject, well, what do? They bully you into trying to like it, into trying to agree with them, using shaming language, guilt trips, and emotional blackmail. All anyway. So that's that's a part that bothers me as well. I'm not going to be bullied into spending my money or spending my time trying, looking at something or giving something a chance. If it's my choice, I give it a chance. But if it's my choice not to give it a chance, I'm not going to be shamed. I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to give something my money or my time simply because they, say I should. No, I don't have to. Now, they can if they want to. 9 times out of 10, they usually don't. But it's not for them to tell me what to do with my time and money any more than it is for me to tell them what to do with their time and their money. So that's something that really bothers me, and I think Marvel and DC have allowed this to happen to an extent. Much of the entertainment industry has allowed this to happen to an extent. You look, I compared it in one review of, we were all sitting at the table full of nerds and outcasts, and now Marvel gets a taste of popularity, and now it's over at the popular kids table and the cool kids table, and they act like they don't know us anymore. And we've been best friends and supporting each other for all of these years, like forever, and now they've just turned their back on us. And so to me, that's what it all boils down to. When you really break it down, it's not out of anger. A lot of people will say, well, you hate. No, it's not you hate. As I keep telling people, the opposite of the word love is not hate. You can hate something or hate someone for something they did or said. Not hate someone, but you can hate them. You can hate something that they did or said and still care about them and love them. You can hate mashed potatoes, for example. Not that I do. You can hate mashed potatoes, but you can still love French fries and potato chips. Doesn't mean you hate potatoes altogether in general. The opposite of love is the word indifference. Indifference means that you don't care. You have absolute no feeling whatsoever about anything and what happens to it. You don't care if it lives or dies. You don't care if it's destroyed or stays together. You don't care if it lives on or just fades away. That's what the opposite of love is. People who are complaining about this and are actually care for this stuff. And so to say that they hate is wrong. If they didn't care, which is the kiss of death, indifference, they would say, screw it, I'm done. I don't want to have anything to do with that. I'm on the thin line right now on that. I'm at the edge right now as far as a lot of this stuff goes now, because it's become boring. It's become too preachy. So that's the thing. And when it comes down to stuff, when it comes down to entertainment, it should be fun. What do we do when we learn? We tend to learn and absorb a lot more when something is fun or interesting. So I mean, think about all of the shows that you grew up with where you learned something from: Sesame Street, Electric Company, Schoolhouse Rock. Where in the world is Carmen? Where on earth is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? That's what it is. The game show. Barney, Teletubbies, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, Dora the Explorer, Needhawk Highland, and now Paw Patrol. You have all of these shows, and the reason that you were able, even the old school Animaniac episodes, United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru. And I know that whole song, by the way. But everything that you learn, it's fun. It's the 3 F's. I guess I just kind of came up with this. The 3 F's. If it needs to be fun, not forced. Now, if it's forced and not fun, then you get the 3rd F, right? So that's and that's where indifference comes in, because if people don't care, then they, tend to move away from it and go, well, screw it, I'm not going to waste my time and money anymore. So that's where it all leads to. And indifference tends to lead to disappointment. And I think that's what it is at the end of the day. It's not that we hate it, we're disappointed by it. If you're a parent, you know how well your kid performs intellectually and athletically. So if he or she fails at something, you're going to be a little disappointed in them, right? Because you know what, they can do better, they can perform better, because you know them. You've watched them, you've seen them, you know that they can do better. Well, that's the same thing here with us, with the geek culture. Marvel has done so well. I mean, it has become the Juggernaut. Hey, I made it into a video. Yeah, you did. Okay, go sit down now. But we know Marvel is very, very capable of doing far better than what they've been giving us over the past several years now. At this point, after Endgame, Phase 4, all of the movies for the most part were pretty much subpar or crap. Spider-Man No Way Home doesn't count because technically that is a Sony movie and not it's more of a Sony movie than it is a Marvel / DC movie, Marvel / Disney movie. So we know how capable they are of being able to perform, both in comics and in movies and in shows. The problem is that we're disappointed, and again, disappointment leads to indifference. And so we're getting to that point now where it's just like, okay, this is garbage now. I'm not gonna buy into this stuff. I mean, it's just like, and this is being honest, okay? And I think that's what a lot of us as nerds and as geeks are doing. We're being honest about this stuff. We're being true about this stuff. I mean, that's just like the Dallas Cowboys. That team sucks. And I know I'm going to offend a lot of Cowboys people out there because I know quite a few of them. But let's be honest, the Dallas Cowboys are not what and I'm not even a sports person and I know this, but the Dallas Cowboys have not nearly as good over the past 20 years as they were in the 90s. The 90s, they ruled, they ran things, but ever since the 2000s, they've been crap. Now, a lot of people may not like that, but is it the truth? Yep. You can look at the record and see it. Now you can look at Marvel Studios and go, wait a minute. They're not making as much money as they used to in the movies. Yeah, they're making a couple of million, but they should be making more than what they're making now. So it's beginning to show at least a little bit. Especially on the comic book side, it's definitely showing because no one's buying their comic books as much as they used to. Even I used to spend a lot of money buying comic books back in about 5, 6, I would say almost 10 years ago now. I don't spend any money on comic books at all. I didn't even care about the comics now as it is anyway, especially with San Diego Comic-Con. I only cared about the toys. Normally I care about this stuff too, along with the toys, but it's like, I don't care about that stuff. That Xanatos figure, oh, I want that. The Chippendale Rescue Rangers with the Ranger plane, I'm drooling over here over that. So that's saying a lot. If I don't care what they are putting out right now, think of how many other people are not or don't care about this as well. So what it all boils down to with this is, why should I toe the line? Why should we be forced to like something and care about it just because you do? I mean, we could say the same thing. We tried to get people into this stuff, but they never did. Now that it's the end thing and it's at the popular kids table, oh, well, now we love it and now we know everything about it, blah, 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 whatever. So that's part of the issue. Another part of the issue is the oversaturation of it. There was a time, and this is true with Star Wars as well. Star Wars, George Lucas would take 2 years minimum, maybe 3 years max, before he released the next Star Wars movie. Now we're getting Star Wars movies left and Star Wars material left and right now. Same thing with Marvel. We're getting Marvel material left and right now. It's becoming an assembly line where it's more quantity over quality. If it's garbage, if it's complete and total garbage, well, we're not buying it anymore, basically. And there's no reason why we should be forced to buy it anymore at this point. I mean, when you try a new food and or try a new drink and it tastes like crap and garbage, okay? And what happens? Your taste bud sends a message to the brain, and the brain says and creates a memory and says, "Don't try this anymore. Remember what it tasted like." And so when you see that same type of food or drink, beverage again, or something similar to it, what happens? You're repulsed by it, right? So this is what's happening now, because we know the vast majority of it is like, okay, what are they going to do now? It's probably going to end up being garbage. And, well, you can say you should give it a chance and yada, yada, yada. I mean, yeah, you can give it a chance. But so far, their record hasn't been very good lately, just like the Dallas Cowboys. Again, not ragging on them. But again, why would you reward a kid why would you reward your child for bringing home a bad report card? That's what you're doing here. They need to be shown that, no, take the nerd glasses off, take the geek glasses off, and show them and say, no, I'm not buying this stuff anymore because it sucks. You need to do better. We know that you can do this, and we know that you're better than this, basically. So, at the end of the day, I don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. No one has to like it. But I shouldn't have to be guilted or forced into liking something, or say, or made out to be a bad guy just because, well, I don't want to give it a chance. I'm sorry. Or, I'm going, what's the point in this? Black Panther especially, because it's the one Wakanda Forever. It's just like, well, Black Panther's not in it. Chances are, like I said, spoiler alert, Shuri's going to be Black Panther because that's the way it worked out in the comics. And so, not recently, maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago, who knows? But still, this is where I'm just being honest, okay? And I'm not trying to be this complete and total butt about it. But I think it gives everybody, I'm giving you an insight of how I think and how I look at these things. Most people are probably going to think that going to say, well, you're awfully privileged, or that you can think like that, and you're awfully this, that, and the other. You think you're better than everyone. No, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I'm just an average person. I just don't, and I just, in all honesty, I think I'm fairly stupid for the most part. I especially nowadays. I used to joke when I was a teenager that, I was sent to the wrong planet before my planet exploded. I don't understand people here. So that's why I don't think that, that's why I don't think I don't fit into this mindset. I never did. And to say again that, and maybe I am racist. I don't know. I don't care. Maybe, okay, yes, I am, because I hate people. No, I don't. Yes, I do. But I never, but again, just because skin folk and kinfolk, okay? So just because a character is black, that doesn't mean that I should be able to automatically like the character and should be praising it. I can't relate to T'Challa, Black Panther. I can't relate to Jim Rhodes, War Machine. I can't relate to Jon Stewart, Green Lantern. I can't relate to Blade, the Vampire Hunter. I can't relate to Virgil Hawkins, Static. I can't relate to Aurora Monroe, Storm. I can't relate to John Henry Irons, Steel. I can't relate to Al Simmons, Spawn. Those are characters, Riri Williams. I can't relate to her, Ironheart. I can't relate to Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man. So look, I tend to relate to characters that are the most like me. Batman's my favorite, one of my favorite comic book superheroes. Not because of the toys, not because he's just an ordinary human being without powers. It's because it's the psychosis of him. He that I can relate to. He can take a very bad situation and turn it into a force of good. He's very resourceful. He's an expert strategist. He thinks 5 steps ahead of everybody else, and and that's what, and he never gives up, and that's what I like about him. Wolverine. He has this animalistic rage about him that he constantly has to control, and rightfully he has the right to feel the way that he does because he's always been used as a weapon, basically. So he doesn't let people get too close to him. I can relate to that as well. Spider-Man, another one of my favorite superhero characters, because that man carries the weight of the world on his shoulder, just like I do tend to a lot of the times. And he doesn't want to let everyone down, because he learned early on that with great power there must come great responsibility. Superman, another one of my favorite characters. Why? Because he's very positive. He's very naive as well, but he believes in the best in people, which I'm slowly kind of dripping away from that, but still. Captain America I can throw in there too, because he believes in himself and believes in people, and he never gives up. Hulk, I can even throw him in there as well, because at the end of the day, I get angry and I just want to be left alone, and that's what Hulk wants, just to be left alone. He wouldn't be as angry as he would be if you just leave him alone a lot of the time. So that I can relate to, because it's the mental, it's the personality aspect about them. And you notice a kind of a little bit of a connection there. One's about anger and discipline and controlling yourself, whereas the others are about giving and not giving up. And you have some that see the light, some who are dark, the yin and the yang, basically. And that's how it works with me. I can't relate to Thor, as I've mentioned before. I can't relate to Cyclops of the X-Men. I can't relate to Mr. Fantastic or Sue Richards. I mean, there are lots of I can't relate to the Flash, Barry Allen, or Wally West. But I can't relate to a lot of characters, but there are some characters that I can relate to simply because of what is inside right here. So, I mean, and they're not all, and they're all white, obviously. I mean, I'm not white, obviously, as well. I'm not rich. I don't have mutant powers. I don't have super strength or anything like that. So at the end of the day, and it kind of tails back to what I was saying about, well, isn't that a little racist? Well, yeah, when you talk to other people about this sort of thing, you're black, you have to like this character because they're black. Well, no, I don't. That's racist right there, isn't it? Technically, it is. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing about all of this. As much as we love to preach about Martin Luther King Jr. and his "I have a dream" speech, when Martin Luther King Day comes around, we all play the speech and we all quote it and yada yada yada, and then the day after it's back to business as usual with this crap. Well, you should like it because of you're a woman, you're a person of color, or you're of this sexuality. That's the exact opposite of what Martin Luther King preached. Content of the character and not the color of the skin, right? So again, who's the bad guy here, and who's lying, and who's the most racist? I mean, you gotta admit that makes a lot more sense. So that's about it. I know this went on for a long time, but I had to get this out because it really bothered me, because I always try to explain to people why I think and feel the way that I do about these certain things, and I try to back them up with facts. I'm not that kind of person who answers with, because I said so, or because you should, just because you can and just because you should. I don't have that kind of mentality, so never did. I'm pretty different when it comes to that. Before my wife and I got married, one of the things I told her, I said, look, I don't want to be a part of the rat race as far as trying to keep up with the Joneses. If we want something, if you want something, if I want something, or if we both want something together, we should get it because we want it, not because someone else down the street or over in another city, or because someone we know has it. So I'm not of that mindset, and I apologize for that. So maybe I shouldn't, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So that's that. I'm gonna leave it at that for the time being. And Jugs.
I don't like that name.
Oh, okay. Well, I used to call him Jugs. So how about Juggy?
Yeah, I like that better.
Okay, Juggy is gonna take us out. All right, get ready. Here he comes.
Oh, hey, Crush!
Hey, and P.S. One more thing, as Jackie Chan's uncle used to say in the Jackie Chan Adventures cartoon. Amongst all of the black princesses taking over for white princesses, and black ass guardians in place of, and instead of white Wakandans. Well, there's no white Wakandans because, that would be wrong and that would be racist. But we can have black Norse gods, which doesn't make any sense. But anyway, wait until they come for something that you love, all of you out there, because at some point they are going to come for something that you treasure most, that helped you through your tough times, that taught you something, that entertained you to where it made you happy and forget about your cares, and dance your cares away. So and they'll remake it, and then you won't like it, and you'll be complaining. 9 times out of 10 you probably will, because it's going to mean something to you. That's what this stuff is to many of us. It means something to us because it helped, and that's something that's very important to a lot of people, and that's what it means to a lot of people. It means a whole lot to a lot of people. And I also would like to I would like for you to look up a person named Eric July, Young Ripper. This is a black man, who started his own comic book company just recently, used his own funds, no crowdfunding or anything like that, to make his stuff. And he's basically said, I got tired of Marvel, I got tired of DC, I got tired of all of what entertainment has been doing, so I decided to create my own comic book company, and with my own characters. Hired a bunch of artists, and he's writing the stories, things like that. Brand new characters, and the characters, some of them are people of color, some of them aren't, and so he's got diversity in it and everything, but he's making sure that he's not beating people over the head across the head with the message of you need to do ABCXYZ. He is he's raising money, and he's at 3 million, I think, or a little above it now at this point, since he started it a couple of weeks ago. And there are people online trying to tear that man down. All these people who claim to be woke, and I hate that word, woke, and all for diversity and inclusion. And it's not just white people, it's black people, it's pretty much people of every race, but primarily white people and black people who are trying to tear this man down, and basically trying to ruin him, both on a professional scale and on an unprofessional scale. And these people are calling him the most dirtiest and worst of names. And funny how that all changes people's minds, especially when you find out what their politics are. He's not the usual person who goes with the usual politics of the majority of people in the country. But one of the things that he said is, look, You know, we don't have to agree politically, but I'll always be happy to have you as a customer. And that's the way it should be. Now, most people will say, well, politics and messaging has always been in nerd and geek culture, which is true. But just like I've said before in the past, the old guard knew how to make it work. You know, again, Stan Lee, Walt Disney, Bill Hanna, Joe Barbera, Tex Avery, all of the classic Warner Brothers directors of the Warner Brothers cartoons. They, Bullwinkle and Jay Ward of Bullwinkle and Rocky, they all knew how to set. Again, even Tom Ruger with Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, and Freakazoid. They knew how to tell a story first and foremost, and make the message the second thing. So, you know, you and they let you watch and or read their work and let you decide for yourself, you know, what this meant and how it should be taken basically for yourself. So that is something that I think a lot of these people don't know how to do. And again, saturation doesn't help as well. There's a reason why that issue of Action Comics with the very first appearance of Superman sells for millions of dollars. It's because of its rarity. And as long as Marvel and Star Wars, Lucasfilms keeps pumping out all of this product, it becomes less valuable because there's so much of it now. The less, the more valuable it is. The more, the less value. Wait, okay, I probably messed that up. The more, the less valuable it is. The less, the more valuable it is. Okay, so that's about it. Again, hopefully this has been a bit of a teaching moment, a learning moment, and hopefully you do kind of get an idea of how I think and understand why I judge some of the things that come out the way that I do. So that's all that really matters to me. As Clownfish TV says, you don't have you have a right to you have a right to like it, and you have a right not to like it. So, but look up Eric July, Young Ripper, and go support his Ripperverse comic books. I mean, I think it'll turn out to be something well, and then be something that's far more competitive than this. He's very transparent. He respects the customers, and we're not the bad guys. I mean, we get some respect, unlike what Marvel and DC and most other companies have been doing for the past 5 or 6 years now. So, that's that. See you later. Hopefully with another review or another toy show or toy story or or a funny skit or something. All right. Enjoy your day.